March 29, 2018. Russia-China prepare after U.S. activates Satan's Fingers space weapon disguised as Hubble Space Telescope. A literally out-of-this-world new Ministry of Defense MOD report circulating in the Kremlin today states that Chinese Minister of National Defense Weap0n is rushing to Moscow after both Russia and China vowed to maintain global peace and stability that comes on the heels of Stephen F. Cohen, Ph.D., Professor Emeritus of Russian Studies and Politics at NYU and Princeton, joining the growing global chorus of experts warning that unproven allegations against President Trump and President Putin are risking nuclear war, but with the greatest present fear being a series of what are believed to be activation codes sent yesterday by the U.S. military's Prompt Global Strike (PGS) program to its Satan's Fingers space weapon disguised as the Hubble Space Telescope (HST). According to this report, within hours of the MOD confirming yesterday that the apocalyptic Dead Hand nuclear barrage war plan had been activated and that, in 2011, Strategic Missile Forces Commander Lieutenant General Sergei Karakayev confirmed exists and is operational. A series of coded electronic messages were detected being sent by the U.S. military's Prompt Global Strike program to their Satan's Fingers space weapon currently occupying the orbit of what was the Hubble Space Telescope. The Hubble Space Telescope, this report details, is one of the biggest hoaxes ever perpetrated upon the American people since its deployment date on April 25, 1990, and that was placed in the low Earth orbit LEO altitude of 537.4 kilometers (333.9 miles) and had the launch mass of 11,110 kilograms (24,490 pounds). For space objects in a low Earth orbit, this report explains, the most significant effect is the atmospheric drag of the Earth's pull due to gravity, that is not much less than on the surface of our planet, and though people and objects in orbit appear to experience weightlessness, it is only because they are in free fall. Because of the Earth's gravitational pull on space objects, this report continues explaining, those placed into low Earth orbit, like the Hubble Space Telescope, are subject to what is called orbital decay and is what is occurring now with China's Tiangong-1 space station, that was launched on September 29, 2011 and is expected to crash back to Earth in the coming days. The main reason the low Earth orbiting Tiangong-1 space station has experienced orbital decay, sending it crashing back down to our planet, this report says, is due to its not having any propulsion system that could keep it at a steady altitude, and is exactly like the Hubble Space Telescope that needed frequent space shuttle missions to continue to boost it into higher orbits, with the last one being servicing Mission 3B SM-3B flown by the Space Shuttle Columbia in March 2002. In anticipation of the planned February 2005 servicing Mission 4 SM-4 to keep the Hubble Space Telescope in orbit, this report continues, NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center released their document titled Expected Hubble Space Telescope Science Lifetime after SM-4, wherein they stated that the Hubble Space Telescope would re-enter the Earth's atmosphere in late 2013 or early 2014, but with servicing Mission 4 never occurring due to the Space Shuttle Columbia disaster, should have meant that it would crash back to Earth by no later than 2007. As the Hubble Space Telescope was last boosted into a higher orbit in March 2002, and over the past 16 years has had no further boosts of any kind due to NASA's Space Shuttle program being cancelled, this report notes, it is an absolute scientific impossibility for this massive low Earth orbiting satellite, having no thrusting means, to not only be in space at all but to now be tracked at an altitude of 539 kilometers (334 miles) and traveling at 27,326 kilometers (16,979 an hour. With it long being known that human beings are highly susceptible to the big lie, as the American people are in being forced to believe the impossibility of the Hubble Space Telescope still magically being in orbit. This report continues, Russian experts have long suspected that the March 2002 servicing Mission 3B wasn't to boost this massive satellite into a higher orbit, but to replace it with a self-powered and maneuverable hypersonic weapons platform the mod has named Satan's Fingers and whose power has been described as, in a near-future war, 1,000 missiles scream toward Russia at Mach 20. Each one a pinpoint strike hitting the Kremlin's nuclear missiles, military radars, submarine bases, you name it. Within minutes, 80% of Russia's nuclear arsenal is destroyed without the United States launching a single nuclear weapon of its own. Russia's military networks are blind, the nation's ability to strike back eliminated or severely degraded. The incoming missiles were no ordinary weapons, but hypersonic glide vehicles developed largely in secret under the U.S. Prompt Global Strike program. They travel so fast, shooting them down is effectively impossible. To the greatest danger facing our world, with such an existential threat to Russia being posed by the Satan's Fingers space weapon that replaced the Hubble Space Telescope, this report concludes, is that upon its deployment in war, it would automatically initiate a dead-hand nuclear barrage against both the United States and its NATO allies, and that even supposing that only 20% of Russia's nuclear weapons were left, would still be enough to send our entire world back to the Stone Age.